Chunyu's attacks did not let up at all, continuing to attack Daiko Yenjin's body with countless snowflakes. Even the hardest steel body could not withstand the tens of thousands of cuts per second from his snowflakes that were sharp like a scalpel. However, Daiko Yenjin was not fighting alone. Seeing what was happening, Yoshimitsu Sakuraba behind him immediately came to his aid. Yoshimitsu Sakuraba held out both hands with 5 fingers open and was aiming at Daiko Yenjin. An invisible shockwave was released in an instant. Bai Chunyu was about to continue his attack when he suddenly felt his body sink, and his movements became sluggish. Li Taichang also felt his limbs become heavier. This is gravity? They immediately understood what the other party's ability was. Eclipse Moon number 13, Yoshimitsu Sakuraba, Ability Code Gravity Field. Can enhance gravity indiscriminately within a fixed area. This ability had a significant impact on Bai Chunyu. Because his Snow Fall of the Earth ability transforms into countless falling snow, it is greatly affected by gravity. However, for the powerful Daiko Yenjin, this level of gravity field is nothing. Yoshimitsu Sakuraba's gravity field greatly relieved the pressure on Daiko Yenjin. It wasn't the first time the two had worked together. Daiko Yenjin was able to adapt to this doubling of gravity. However, Bai Chunyu and Li Taichang were a bit uncomfortable. Daiko Yenjin grinned, a moment he certainly wouldn't miss. He brandished the Tanbokiri in his hand and slashed down on Li Taichang's head. As a Yokozuna by birth, he didn't know much about the use of weapons. His fighting style was simple, brute force. A force that breaks all laws. Li Taichang gazes at the situation and quickly chooses to pull back and pull away, then flings a dozen meters of chain in his hand toward Daiko Yenjin. Duanmu's meteor hammer was pointed straight at his chest. A blunt weapon attack does not need to be aimed specifically at the vitals. As long as it hits the body and causes damage, it can cause the opponent to quickly lose his fighting ability. Although Daiko Yenjin was conceited, he had experienced Li Taichang's power and did not dare to take it lightly. Just an attack at this distance, he could have bounced off with a Tanbokiri with one hand. Li Taichang wore heavy armor, but his movement speed was not slow at all, and he was pulling away from the fight to adapt to moving under a gravity field. Soon, he mastered the method of attacking in this state of gravity and began to skillfully tangle with Daiko Yenjin. Once upon a time, he was also a first-rate martial arts performer in Huashu, an expert in using the meteor hammer. And after acquiring supernatural powers, it made up for the flaws in his physical qualities, truly making him a powerful mutant. Technique-wise, I'm first-rate. In terms of strength, I'm also first-rate. Li Taichang said so. So when he encountered the burly person in front of him, he did not have the slightest fear. He believed in himself and his team. Bai Chunyu's attack was affected, the gravity field domain was somewhat damaging to his ability. When the ability, Snow Fall of the Earth, encountered the gravity field domain, it was also difficult to fly. He said to Luo Tianxiang, "Help me take out that gravity manipulating guy first." Luo Tianxiang replied, "Roger." His legs gently stomped on the ground, and his entire body unexpectedly shot up into the sky, and in the air he grew a pair of huge wings. Luo Tianxiang, Beast-type ability user, rare beast species, the Snow Mountain Thunder Falcon. Luo Tianxiang quickly flew hundreds of meters into the air, and even at such a distance, he was able to see everything on the ground clearly. This came from his ability Hawk Eyes, which could dynamically capture everything that moved on the ground. He locked onto Yoshimitsu Sakuraba's position and opened his mouth to spit out a blue lightning bolt that sliced down like a sharp sword. In the instant the lightning fell, Yoshimitsu Sakuraba's body strangely leapt backward. His body floated lightly, as if it had no mass. In addition to being able to exude, the gravity field was likewise able to exert itself, allowing him to be equivalent to strolling on a planet that weighed only half as much as the moon. Therefore, his speed and strength could all be increased drastically. Luo Tianxiang's mouth let out a loud and clear roar, and one lightning bolt after another slashed down towards the ground. The trio of Eclipse Moon were all within the range of his attacks. And soaring high above the sky, he looked down on the earth like a king. At this distance, almost no one could attack him. This was his favorite kite game. But just at this time, Akira Kurosawa reached out and shrugged off the black leather jacket on his body, revealing the huge black hand cannon on his right arm. Time to hunt. Akira Kurosawa raised his hand cannon and aimed it at Luo Qianxiang in the air. Without hesitation, he pulled the trigger, and a yellow light shot up into the sky, transforming into a bright pillar of light that instantly arrived in front of Luo Qianxiang's body. Swish! With a turn, Luo Qianxiang dodged Akira Kurosawa's attack in the air. As the king of the air, his speed was also extremely fast. This kind of bulky hand cannon attack could not hit him. And when Bai Chunyu saw this, he was about to transform into falling snow and go over to help when he suddenly heard a cry for help from behind him. "Vice Captain, come over and help me." In the short span of a dozen seconds, the battle between Daiko Yanjin and Li Taichang had been fought hundreds of times. Daiko Yanjin's offense is incredibly simple and brutal. He just rushes up to Li Taichang and forcefully forces Li Taichang to compete with him in a contest of strength. The heavy, sharp Tanbokiri keeps slamming down in his hands, clearly a sharp weapon, but he uses it as a blunt one. After all, to Daiko Yanjin, he was not good at using weapons in the first place. Tanbokiri was chosen simply because he admired Neon's legendary warrior, Tadakatsu Honda. But when it comes to fighting, he still finds it more convenient to use it as a stick. Li Taichang is also angry, and carrying the anchor in both hands, he chooses to fight Daiko Yanjin. But after exchanging blows, he realized something was wrong. In terms of strength, he is no match for Daiko Yanjin. In his transformed tidal tiger form, which stood 3 meters tall, Daiko Yanjin, who was a Yokozuna himself, was nearly invincible in the realm of power. Bang! The Tanbokiri slashed fiercely above the anchor. After just a few dozen collisions, Li Taichang felt that his hands were almost losing consciousness, and the spine of his back was shivering. After 100 impacts, his legs finally became unsteady and he plop. He fell to his knees with a thud. However, Daiko Yanjin had no intention of stopping. As he looks at the heavily armored, struggling man in front of him, the tyrannical feeling in his heart arises. He wanted to smash this coward in front of him, who was hiding inside his armor, alive into meat paste. Finally, Li Taichang's arms could not support him anymore. Even though he was wearing the battle armor that Deng Industry had customized for him, the difference in strength between the two sides was still too great. Bai Chunyu was not surprised to see Li Taichang unable to defeat Daiko Yanjin. The reason why Li Taichang was brought here was to be able to stall him from the front. Although Li Taichang made a plea for help out of his mouth, his body wandered along the ground extremely swiftly, and the long, thick chains in his hands flung themselves at Daiko Yanjin's legs in an attempt to hold him back, flipping him over and dragging him across the snow. Seeing this, Bai Chunyu said to Luo Qianxiang through the communication device, "You hold the 2 guys behind you, I'll go help Li Taichang kill that big guy first." "Okay, leave them to me." Luo Qianxiang looked down at the ground from a height of hundreds of meters, and dozens of lightning bolts were shot out from the middle of his hands, shooting at the duo of Akira Kurosawa and Yoshimitsu Sakuraba. These two were forced to retreat. Their means were very unfavorable against Luo Qianxiang. Luo Qianxiang soared above the 9 heavens and was extremely fast. Even Akira Kurosawa's hand cannons could not target him. Li Taichang was unable to defeat Daiko Yanjin head-on, so he was able to use his skills to stall for time, and then shouted to Bai Chunyu for help. Seeing this, Bai Chunyu is forced to turn back and join him in attacking Daiko Yanjin. A storm of ice and snow swept across the sky, covering a large area of space. At this point, Bai Chunyu was in the form of millions of particles, and even shattering some of the snowflakes had little effect on him. On the contrary, Daiko Yanjin was unable to wear battle armor due to the transformative properties of the beast-type lineage, resulting in bare skin. Being attacked by Bai Chunyu for a long time was like being cut by a blunt sword, and sooner or later he would be consumed to death. But this time, Daiko Yanjin was not alarmed by Bai Chunyu's attack. Many people mistakenly thought that people like him were all brute and no brains. Such thoughts were always scoffed at by Daiko Jin. How can a warrior who fights with his physical body achieve victory on the battlefield if he does not have enough intelligence to deal with his opponents? If he were that simple, he wouldn't have been able to survive until now after the end of the world. Still trying to use the same trick against me is simply laughable. Daiko Jin laughed, revealing a mouth full of white teeth. Then, in the midst of the constant onslaught of the blizzard, he didn't dodge the millions of snowflake swords, but instead raised the 3-meter-long Tanbokiri with both hands high in the air. His hands danced the Tanbokiri at an extremely fast speed. Soon the Tanbokiri began to rotate like a windmill, and then a huge whirlwind formed around his body. Baichunyu, who was transformed into thousands of snowflakes, was pulled by the whirlwind and unexpectedly lost the ability to move. This guy. Baichunyu's heart was stunned, not thinking that this big guy had thought of a way to deal with his abilities so quickly. But at this moment, if he disengaged his transformed form, he would definitely be directly strangled by Daiko Jin within close range. Don't even think about using this method of hypnosis to trap me. Baichunyu shouted, and the snowstorm in the sky began to disperse into the distance. But the movements of Daiko Jin's hands grew faster and faster, and a hurricane visible to the naked eye formed with him at its center. The powerful wind pressure creates an absolute pressure gap, gathering Baichunyu, who is trying to flee outward, hard around him. No matter how Baichunyu's incarnation tried to escape, it was mercilessly pulled back by him. Damn it, damn it. Baichunyu finally began to panic. But before Li Taichang could catch his breath to help him out, all of the surrounding falling snow was coalesced by a whirlwind artificially created by Daiko Jin. Baichunyu became a mass of solidified icicles around Daiko Jin, squeezed solidly together by the wind pressure. Daiko Jin leapt high into the air, then with a single slap, he pressed the huge whirlwind-shaped icicle hard into the depths of the earth. Then his right foot stomped violently, and the earth quaked and crumbled. Baichunyu was thus temporarily sealed under the earth. Although doing so could not kill Baichunyu, for a while, Baichunyu had no way to get out of being trapped. Seeing this scene, Luo Tianxiang and Li Taichang both panicked a little. Baichunyu was the main force among the three of them, and now that Baichunyu had been sealed, the two of them were obviously experiencing a huge lack of combat power. Especially against a terrifying beast-type powerhouse like Daiko Jin, it would be difficult for their means of attack to be effective. No, we must free Vice Captain Bai. Otherwise Li Taichang won't be able to stop that monster. Luo Tianxiang had to change his attack target. He quickly maneuvered in the air, then rushed in the direction where Daiko Jin was, his mouth and hands spewing out a sharp lightning bolt aimed at Daiko Jin's torso. Daiko Jin's speed is not a strong point, and he is unable to dodge this lightning attack. A bolt of lightning landed directly on his body from the air in a blaze of electricity. Crackle! But that bolt of lightning traveled over his body without causing much damage. Daiko Jin laughed coldly, this level of attack can't hurt me yet. Luo Tianxiang's supernatural was lightning, however, it was only bioelectricity that his supernatural was transformed into, not real lightning. Otherwise, with the power contained in that kind of 100,000-volt lightning, not even Daiko Jin would dare to take it hard. Luo Tianxiang's pupil shrunk violently, and a bad feeling appeared in his heart. There was even an urge to flee. They had somewhat underestimated the target of this operation. The strength possessed by these Neon Ronin who came across the sea was not weaker than their heavenly god squad. Luo Tianxiang clenched his teeth. He knew that he had no other choice at this moment. This battle was being watched by the senior management of the headquarters. He absolutely cannot escape. With this in mind, an even more massive round of spherical lightning began to coalesce in his mouth. He was going to strike a fatal blow, or at least force Daiko Jin to leave the area, creating a chance for Baichunyu to get out of his predicament. However, just as he was building up his strength, Daiko Jin suddenly assumed a bizarre stance. He raised the Tanbokiri with both hands, his body slightly crouched down, and his long, athletic body was drawn like a large bow. Oh no! Luo Tianxiang immediately realized what that guy was going to do. I have to dodge this right away. He lifted his wings to fly, but the blast of the Tanbokiri came straight through with a penetration of space. Daiko Yanjin was not fast, but he possessed top-notch physical strength. With this power, the Tanbokiri slices through the air with an ear-splitting sonic boom. A strike that was several times the speed of sound. Luo Tianxiang didn't dodge this strike, his body was directly penetrated in the air. The huge Tanbokiri even penetrated his body, carrying scarlet blood to continue flying towards the sky for some distance. Luo Tianxiang felt that in this instant, his body was emptied of all its strength. He was sliced in two. With that, he fell head first, straight down from a height of several hundred meters. Old Luo! Li Taichang couldn't help but exclaim.